All right, today we have a super important topic: how to start your lawn care business as far as the physical equipment needed. I'm going to take you guys through trucks, through trailers, through mowers, everything you need to get started with your lawn service. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the B&B Lawn Care Podcast with Blake Albertson. If you enjoyed today's show, leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on YouTube at B&B Lawn Care and on Instagram at bblawncarekc. Thank you guys so much for listening and enjoy today's show. All right. So I want to take you guys through the absolute very beginning of buying a truck. Now, I want to start with the truck because the truck is the very first, it's the main thing that you need to get right. Because a right or wrong truck purchase in the way you purchase the truck could affect your business 1, 2, 3 years down the line. As far as financing that truck, if you make a wrong decision, see, a lot of people either have some sort of money saved up for a truck when they go out and buy one. You might be able to pay for it this month. You might be able to pay for it, 5 months down the road, but you don't know what's going to happen in your life and in your business a year from now. And so if you buy a truck and you think you can pay the truck payment today, that doesn't mean that's why I'm so against debt. Like, I'm not necessarily this is not going to be the debt versus cash, talk, the podcast that might be for another day. But I want to take you guys through. So enough of that. I don't want to get into that topic because I can rant on that for literally hours and hours and hours. So I'm literally going to show you guys a few places where I look for some used equipment, briefly touch on should you buy a new piece of equipment, a new truck, or used equipment in a used truck. So let's start off with the truck because, like I said, it's probably the most expensive part. It doesn't have to be, but it's the biggest purchase out of this whole thing. So I would check two places first. This is like the very first place. So I found my work truck on a Facebook swap shop. And so you can look in your local town, even your local neighborhood. So when I look for a truck, and this could be a whole podcast as well, so I want to briefly touch on this. When I look for a truck, I don't necessarily, as far as a work truck, I don't necessarily look for how it looks. I look for functionality, miles, and what kind of shape is it in. I'm not going to buy a truck that's rusted out from the very bottoms and is barely running and has a slipping transmission and things like that. Those are things that you really need to watch out for. So like this, I literally came on to Facebook Marketplace. You can pick your area. You can pick what year trucks, what brand trucks. You can literally really dive in deep. This truck's 15 minutes away from me, a 2006 Ford F-150. Really, all I care about in my business is how many miles are on it. Is it in good mechanically running order? Is it going to last me a long time? That's all I care about. Really, I don't like red. I do not like red, but that truck was such a good deal that I bought it. It's a red F-250. So this is a black F-150, 2006. It really doesn't, the year doesn't really matter to me. But look at this. It's $9,900, has 74,000 miles on the truck. And it's a four-wheel drive. That's a really good truck. And so that's actually a really good deal, in my opinion. So if I was needing this truck, I'd be like, you're probably going to pay $9,000 for that truck. You can probably talk them down to $9,000, which is a very good deal, 74,000 miles on it. The first thing I would do is I'd go there, check out the truck, see what it looks like, drive it, and then this is what I say. Every single time, I say, can I take this to the local shop and have them take a look at it? And I literally pay, you're going to pay like $50 to $100, maybe even $150 to get a real in-depth look, but that's on the higher side. Around $50 to $100 to get your truck inspected before you buy it. And you're literally going to have a mechanic and you say, hey, would you buy this truck? Like, they're going to dig in a little bit deeper. Now, there's no way to say for sure if the truck's going to break down or not down the road, but you want to do everything you can to check this truck out. If everything checks out, you only spent $50 to $100 to save you on a $9,000 purchase. But if it works out, then it's only $50. So pretty cool. So that's a really good truck. That's where I'd look. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, your local Facebook swap shops way before I go to a dealer. The other website, and I'd write this down if you're looking for a truck, carguru.com. You can pick in everything you want. There's so many parameters, years of trucks, colors, blah, 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 blah. And get a little more than what you would need. So maybe you're not offering snow removal right now, but that doesn't mean you're not in a year from now. So I have a truck that I use for snow removal, but when I was buying my work truck, I knew exactly what it was going to be. It was going to be the weekly mowing truck. That's it. Nothing else. And so I bought a 2-wheel drive truck because everything else, every other part, a red truck too, every other part of it fit what I needed, fit my needs. And it's been running, knock on wood, amazing. It's done amazing for me over the past 2 years. So let's go to the next thing. The next in line of most importance when you're setting up your lawn care business is a mower, a good machine. So I seriously find no issues in buying used mowers. And when we start out, we all started this way. Most people I know that start their business start with a used mower. It's the way the cookie crumbles, man. It's the timeline of success for your business, which is awesome. So once again, Facebook swap shops, Facebook Marketplace, and Craigslist. I found my very first mower on Craigslist for about $4,000, had about 1,200 hours on it. It was a Wright Stander, an old fixed deck. Around here, and you guys know my favorite mower is a Skag V-Ride, so I went ahead and looked up a Skag V-Ride. Now, towards the end of the year, here's what happens. And there's a buying cycle in every single one of these categories. Trucks, right before winter, they sell better. Dealers are just selling trucks right now as we're moving into wintertime. It's about late November. That's just what happens. And then guess when people buy cars most of the time? Right around April to May. The weather's getting nicer. They want cars to drive around, and tax payment. They're getting tax refunds during that time. And so all of that affects buying purchases so much. And so towards the end of the year, a lot of people are trying to offload their lawnmowers so they can buy new ones before the end of the year for their tax deductions and just to refresh on equipment. A lot of people do that late November, early December, and moving into the next year. So this is a 2014 Skag V-Ride for $5,300. I let's see how many miles are on it, or hours. I'm sorry. Oh, it has 75 hours. So right there for the year, it's 2019 moving into 2020. So it's almost 6 years old. It kind of scares me. So my red flag goes up immediately right there. It also looks like there is a battery. There's a battery bank. And for people watching on YouTube, I'm going to try to show you this. It looks like there's a battery charger connected to the mower, which that's another kind of red flag for me. I don't know why they would have that in the picture, but it looks like they're trying to jump it, which means it's been sitting for a while, which means old gas. And, there's no way to know if they treated that gas before they let it sit there. I mean, all that stuff's, these machines are made to be working, baby. It kind of scares me that is, sitting so long and has that low of hours. So I would probably stay away from that. I mean, guys, 75 hours in 6 years on a commercial lawnmower, that's a red flag. I hate to say it. I would move past that one. That kind of seems. I thought the price was way too high. Um, but I would look around, man. I mean, just search through, and when something, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Like, I really can't find any good deals. Let's go onto Facebook here real quick. And so when you're wanting to buy a lawnmower, let me tell you this. I would probably do. Now, I don't know if a lot of people would let you do this. So here's what I do. I've actually never taken a mower to a shop, but if I was buying a used mower from a local guy, I would probably take it to a shop and have it looked at. So you want to just go over the machine, check it physically, check the oil. Is the oil black? Like, looks like it's very, very old. That's not a good sign. And if it looks brand new, that's also a weird sign, because that means they probably just flushed it out there. There's no winning with that, so I'd rather it look brand new than it look old. But ask him about the history, how often they do maintenance on it. Another thing I'd look at is the spindles. Check around them for rust, and just, if they're leaking and things like that, you just need to watch this stuff. Same thing with the hydros. If the hydros are leaking, you either want to go get it checked out, or you want to skip past that. I mean, hydros and things like that are like essential pieces to this mower, which means they're going to be very expensive to work on. And if you don't have a relationship with a shop, your mower in springtime, if it breaks down, I mean, we're talking about weeks and weeks and weeks of that mower being in the shop. So let's go check here. I just found this is a really, really good deal. So $4,200 for a 61-inch Skag Turf Tiger. I don't think they show the hours on here, but it looks physically in good condition. It looks like they've kept it pretty clean. There's no rust really. So physically, that's probably a machine I would go after if that is, the size deck you want. Another thing, and this is goes way back to something I've said my whole life, is call your local. You need to do some research. Call your local dealers, research them on the internet. What mowers do they sell? So you can pretty much buy any mower off of Craigslist or Marketplace, but you need to make sure that there is a dealer near you that has the parts that can service those mowers. That's probably I should have said that from the very beginning. That is probably the most important aspect to all of this, is if you buy a Skag and there's not a Skag dealer within an hour and a half or 2 hours from you, I would stay away from it. Same thing with any brand. Your dealer, what's that commercial? The dealer makes the difference. I don't know what that, I don't remember what commercial that is. Leave me a comment down below. But it's so true, because if you can't get those parts, you can't get that service, you have a dead machine. If you're like me, I'm not mechanically inclined. I know enough to try to make the right decision, but man, that I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure whatever mower you do look for on Marketplace, there's a dealer that services it. It doesn't mean you need to buy it from the dealer. It just means you need somewhere that you can take this thing to get it worked on, because it's not like a car. There's not just there are, but they don't know exactly what they're doing. It's not like a car where there's just dealerships everywhere that could do most of the work. Some of these machines, to get the parts and things like that, it's just smart to have a good dealer that can service this equipment near you. And so that's enough with mowers. You just use your smarts. If you don't know, if there's weird leaking in areas, you know something's up. I mean, the hydro's not supposed to be leaking, an engine's not supposed to be. There's just some things that physically you can look at. Then use the mower, turn the blades on, mow a yard with it. Simple things like that, taking an hour to inspect a mower. Look at the air filters. Are they clean? Have they been taken care of? Have they been blown out? Have they been changed? All of these, I mean, if I opened up an air filter and the inner air filter was black, I'd have some questions. That's a red flag for me. So let's move on to trailers. So next in line, you have something to pull your equipment with. You have something to mow with. Now you need something to transport your equipment behind that truck. And so I would do the exact same thing. Now, I will tell you, at least in our area, the resale for trailers is out of this world. Like, people are asking way too much money for trailers in my area. This is like a single axle, probably 8-foot trailer for $1,000 is outrageous. I paid maybe $1,800 to $2,300. I can't remember exactly. One of those two numbers. I think it was $2,300 for a brand new tandem axle, 16-foot by 7.5 foot open trailer a few years ago. And this guy has half of a trailer and it's used for $1,000. That's kind of weird to me, but trailer might be one of those things that if you can't get a ridiculous deal on, you might buy a new trailer. But when you're looking for a trailer, determine, where is this going to be stored? Do you have a place to store your equipment inside at night? How much space do you have to store a trailer? And how much space do you need? How many mowers are you going to be transporting? Things like that. That will help determine the size. So I started out on a tiny little trailer, probably 6-foot trailer. One mower and a push mower fit. My right stander, my 52-inch right stander, and a push mower fit. I bought that sucker. Listen, this guy had it for $350 at a garage sale. And I said, listen, I'm trying to start up a little lawn business. He was an old man, which I love buying equipment, trucks, anything from an older guy that knows his craft, takes care of his stuff. That's like the ultimate truck. A guy that doesn't need a truck anymore, just took care of it, knew what he was doing, did the oil changes, and he's selling it. That's the ultimate place to buy anything from. So I was like, hey, I'm starting a lawn care business. Is there anything you could do to help me on the price? And he's like, well, I'm like, I could do like $250 cash. And I got that trailer for $250 cash. And it started my business, man. It worked for me for years, which is absolutely awesome. And you can pull that little trailer with anything, any truck, you could pull that thing with a car. I've seen it a million times. And so find something like that, a local garage sale, local swap shops, things like that. Or, maybe buy new. I would never buy, somebody has a 15 by 7, which one is a very weird length for a trailer. 15 feet. Normally they're 12, 14, and 16 foot and 18. Like normally, I don't know, that 15 by 7 is kind of weird. It's rusty. The different color metals from the tongue, the sides are different, and it's boards. It's a homemade trailer. It's a homemade trailer. Oh my gosh, I gotta show these everybody on YouTube. I literally cannot believe that this guy is asking $500 for this trailer. It's a piece of junk. So look for a good deal on a good solid trailer. Or might have to be something that you buy new. I mean, they're not the most expensive part of your business, but they are essential. Like, this has rusty. I hubs. The whole thing's rust. So, just be careful because, like, I've shared some videos of, you know, trailers that the axle breaks or anything can happen to anything, but, I'm not going to buy a rusty old hub. So that's another important aspect. I wouldn't, trailer is one of those things that I wouldn't necessarily buy bigger than you need. And the reason I say that is because they're not that expensive. They're not the most expensive aspect of your business. And so you can upgrade them later. And obviously their resale value on this is pretty good. These guys are asking a lot of money for them, and obviously they're selling because it's been like that for years. So you can get some of your money back. You're not going to lose everything. It's not like a car. And they're just not that expensive. So listen, here's another aspect. For me, at least, for most people that live in a neighborhood and have HOAs and things like that, I have to pay to store my equipment. And so the longer the trailer, the bigger the truck, the bigger the trailer, the more equipment I have, the more expensive it is to store this equipment. And so whatever you're going to be losing when you resell a trailer to buy a bigger one, you might possibly make up and not having to pay to store them. So it's just something to think about. I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy an 18 by 8.5 foot trailer because you think one day you're going to be a bigger lawn care company. Like, that's probably not the most brilliant thing to do. So the last aspect to all of this, and like I said, this video in podcast is only about the physical equipment, the truck, the mower, the blah, blah, blah. This is not setting up an infrastructure, a process for your business. That's why you subscribe to my YouTube channel and my podcast, because that's all it takes years and years and years and sometimes a lifetime to figure out. This is just how to get started on a basic mowing setup and what I look for. And so handheld equipment, all of this, a used truck, I only buy used trucks, is fine. Most people do it just because when you buy a new truck, you lose so much money the second you drive it off the lot. It just doesn't make sense. The numbers do not make sense. And there's numbers don't lie. There's no way to make sense of a new truck. There's just not. Oh, the warranty. I'm sorry. We just don't run that, like, the profit margins in lawn care aren't big enough to just go buy all these fancy new trucks all the time. Now, once in a lifetime, yeah, you might be able to buy a couple new trucks, but for the average lawn care company, the numbers don't make sense on it. So used truck's fine with, used is fine with a truck. Used is fine with a trailer. Used is pretty good with a mower, somebody that takes care of their stuff. So you're doing that because mowers are pretty expendable. Like, dude, I was upgrading mowers once a year. I was upgrading trucks too once a year. So all of this is like, you have to remember that when you purchase something, like, you can resell it and you can upgrade from there. So get what you need, especially when you're starting your business. Get what you need, and then you can always upgrade. Dude, I went from, I think I had a truck a year for a few years. Like, that's just the way the cookie crumbled. So, because I kept needing something new. And then, of course, I just wanted the Raptor, so I bought the Raptor. But when it comes to handheld equipment, and when I say handheld equipment, I mean hedge trimmers, backpack blowers, or normal handheld blowers, trimmers and edgers. I generally do not recommend buying used because they don't last that long, and they're not that expensive. And when I mean they're not that expensive compared to a used piece of equipment that you have no clue the history behind it, how it was treated. You don't even know the hours on it. Like, you don't know how long a trimmer's been ran and what the insides look like. And if you did pay somebody to look at the insides, then you might as well just buy a new piece of equipment because it's going to be so expensive to do. So the value of just buying a new one with a warranty and just knowing the history behind it, because there isn't any, outweighs the $100 that you might save buying a used trimmer. And so this is another thing that it comes down to what your dealer sells. When I talk to Brian's Lawn Maintenance in Detroit, Michigan, I'm like, dude, steel. Like, there's nothing else around here. And he's like, dude, Red Max. There is nothing else around here. It's all Red Max. I'm like, dude, I've never seen anybody with a Red Max. I don't even know what that is, And so it comes down to the dealer, because sometimes, not always, sometimes you need them repaired. Most of the time, as far as like my business, where it's just those things are getting ran all day, every day, and we don't really, it's kind of bad to say, we don't really care about them. Like, we do, obviously. We're not throwing them off the truck. But I'm not going to baby a trimmer to get 2 more months out of it. I'm using that thing to make money. That's its only job, is to go out, trim and edge, and make the money. So if I have to buy one a year, and throw the other one away, most of the time that's better for my business than it is to put it in the shop and get it worked on. Because, like I said, like, the shop fees are just so expensive that most of the time I'd rather just buy a new one and not have to worry about anything else breaking on it once it gets fixed. And so around here, we have pretty much steel dealers. That's it. We might have one Red Max dealer, but I've never been there. I really, that's it. We have steel. That's it. And then Home Depot and Lowe's, of course, sells Echo equipment. But in my business, I used to run Echo. I probably have had 6 or 7 Echo trimmers and a couple blowers, and it's just, I don't know. I haven't had good luck with them. So steel is just, it's what I've ran forever. It's what I enjoy running. They just work best for me. But it does come down to your dealers, because there are some times where you need parts for this. But a dealer for handheld equipment isn't as important as it is for the mower. The mower, it's a big, big deal. As far as handheld equipment, it's not going to sink your ship, which is your business, if you have to go buy a new blower. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not that big of a deal compared to getting your mower serviced and worked on. And so I would typically lean towards, if your business and your finances allow, to buy new handheld equipment, new trimmers, new blowers, things like that. I know a lot of people, when they're so jacked, they're so excited to go and start their new business, they just go buy all new, like a steel combi system or whatever, hedge trimmers, chainsaws, blah, 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 edgers and all this. Dude, we're talking, boom, first couple years even, in your business, save that money, dude. Like, if you need a trimmer and you need a blower to start your weekly lawn mowing, then only get a string trimmer and a blower. Don't get all gung-ho and say, ooh, I'm going to get a combi system because I might sell Susie on hedge trimming or trimming some of her trees. Listen. I could go buy a combi system today, and it literally wouldn't change my world at all. And I'm not freaking King Kong over here. I'm just telling you, I've never bought a combi system because the numbers on it in the real life, what happens to a trimmer, an engine, it doesn't make sense. I think they're way overpriced, and I love steel. I think that's That's one product that's way overpriced. Now, if you're a tree guy, yes. But the average lawn care company, if you're needing a trimmer and you go and get sold on the combi system because you might trim the hedges, you might trim a tree, dude, that $300 could be used somewhere else that's smarter to use it on. Keith Kelfis told me this in a video years ago, which was absolutely the best advice ever. Sell the job, because you can always go and find a chainsaw. You can always go and find a hedge trimmer. Sell the job. If it's your very first job, sell the job and take that money that Susie gives you as a deposit and go buy that piece of equipment. You're going to find a hedge trimmer. I can go to Home Depot and get a $100 hedge trimmer and get the job done. It is very much little stuff like that. Might seem like you have to have it, but then it sits in the garage for a year and there would be no reason of you buying that. So another thing is just the engines just go bad. Like when you're string trimming and edging and things like that, I'm not going to mix that engine in with one that trims trees. I don't know. That's just me ranting about that product because I think it's really expensive. But so those little things. Now, with all of this, let me tell you a little quick story that I got from a dealer, actually. I'm going to keep names out of it, but they're not even local, so they could be anywhere in the U.S., so you won't know. But he said what happens when somebody gets approved. So let's say you're going to get a new mower. You're all jacked. I'm going to start my lawn care company. This is going to be sick. Like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, which is great, dude. I'm super excited you're listening to this and you're excited about it. What most people could do is go to their dealer that everybody talks about. Oh, my gosh, they sell Skags. They sell steel, blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful. It's great. You're talking to a cool salesman. You like them. You use the machine. It's dope. You're super excited because it's all shiny and new. And the guy's like, okay, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be $10,496.76. Are we going to pay cash or finance this? And, well, you have $2,000, and you say, I'm going to finance it. So I think Sheffield is the main one. And they're going to come back, and they're going to say, you're approved for this amount of dollars. And a dealer, sometimes, this is what the story I heard, is they come back and they say you're approved for $14,000 or $15,000. Most people, 85% of them that are just starting, especially in our business where we love equipment, we're all pretty much the same. We all love equipment. We all love this, the idea of just all of it. And we're like, we see all the new steel equipment because their marketing's great, dude. And we see let's get 2 backpack blowers, 2 trimmers, 2 chainsaws, 2 hedge trimmers. What are we at? 13,500. Ooh, okay. We need this. Let's get a floor jack. Let's get a grease gun. And you're just going down the line, adding a bunch of crap that you don't need. And you get that bill up to $14,000. So now we're talking about some really, really serious money. And so now you're going to have a monthly payment. I don't even know the terms of a lawnmower. I've never once, my whole time in business, bought a lawnmower. I've never financed a lawnmower, okay? Or any piece of equipment for that matter, trailers or anything. I know a lot of people that do. And this is, you're on my podcast, okay? I'm going to speak to you my philosophies. And I just, now listen, if you finance a mower, it's your first year in business, you're super ambitious about it, and you have a plan to pay that thing off this year, dude, let me just tell you this. You can pay off or pay for a mower in your first year in business. Do not get that twisted, okay? I promise. I promise it can be done. And so I just don't want that for you guys, because what happens if you finance $14,000 and whatever your payment is, let's say it's $400 a month. Let's just say that. I have no clue if that's right or not. $400 a month. You have a $600 truck payment. That's $1,000. Now, you've got a family, you've got a house, your mortgage is $1,500. We're now talking about 20, whatever the math. Stop. I don't even know. I don't even remember the numbers I said. $2,500 a month now we're up to. Okay. You have some sort of emergency. Okay. And now what you actually need to live on is the $1,500. Of course, you have other expenses, but we're talking about debt payments. Your water bill is not a debt. And so, listen, I just know this because we've had one this year, an emergency, financial emergency, a real life emergency, whatever it's all the same. And I just knew that if I had a bunch of payments out my butt for stuff that I already have and I already use and all this, that I would be, I'd be in trouble. Like, you think you can pay for it, but you don't know what's down the road. I said this at the very beginning of the podcast, and that's what's scary, is though you think you can pay for it, and you might possibly be able to, it's what happens, when that emergency happens. And so you never know until you're there. So listen, people go bankrupt in business. I don't even remember the statistic, but it's super high. Like in the 90% of businesses that fail. And so there's like two blinking lights that, like, when I hear that statement, 2 or 3, okay? One would be customer acquisition. You just can't get customers. You're just not a good marketer. You're not a good businessman. That's number one. Probably not likely. Lawn care is it's a service that a lot of people need and want, especially when the economy's really, really good. Number 2 would be tax problems, IRS. I hear that a ton. Not paying your taxes, which is just super silly. Like, it should be your absolute number one item that needs to be paid. More than absolutely anything is your taxes. Number one. I've been doing that from day one in my business, is paying my taxes. I hate it. I literally hate paying taxes probably more than anybody in the world, but they're the very first thing I pay, because the IRS is like literally the one, I say person, but like the one thing that can take your business down. It doesn't care how nice of a person you are. It doesn't care. It's the law, okay? There's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do, complain about it? So that's number 2. And number 3 is just being plain broke, cash strapped, because you have way more money going out than you have coming in. And the number one way that I see what makes sense in my mind from not letting that happen is taking the hit immediately up front, taking that ouch. So what happened? Here's the quick philosophy. I talked about this in another podcast, but here we go. When you're buying a new mower, you're so excited. It's a brand new machine. The excitement is like at 100, okay? And dude, if you've written that check for $9,500 or whatever the mower cost, it hurts. Let's call that a negative 100 feeling. It's, oh my gosh, I hate that. Okay. What happens when that transaction happens? The handshake deal, you hand them over the check, they hand you the keys to the mower. That negative 100 feeling now is equaled out with the 100 excitement from the mower. A week goes by, you get a little bit more money. The invoices, the payments are coming in from the clients. 2 weeks goes by, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month. After 6 months, you have on the way to recovering from that loss, or you've fully recovered. You don't remember it. It doesn't even matter. It's just a thing of the past, whatever. What happens with a payment? You're at 100 with the purchase of the mower, and you have nothing to equal that out. So you're 100 with the mower. Slowly, after a couple weeks goes down to a 50 excitement. After a couple months, goes back down to a 0 excitement level, okay? But you have a payment every month for years and years and years. Now you do that with a truck. You do that with your house. You do that with equipment. You do that with whatever down. Dude, freaking TVs, washing machines, refrigerators. Like, it blows my flippin' mind, okay? And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to look at your balance sheet, your profit and loss, whatever, and you're going to say, where the heck is my money going? It's because you never had that emotional and real thing happen. When you bought that mower, you had 100 excitement. When you gave the money away to buy that mower, you had negative 100. Guess what? They equal each other out. You go back to work and you make all that money and you start recuperating and building back your savings account. That is like, dude, it makes sense to me. And I know there's going to be somebody that's totally opposite of that doesn't like that. But let's be real for once, for a person that's just starting their business. And man, I could get really upset about this because I see guys on Instagram. Like, Instagram is great, but it's so bad because you get such a weird look into people's businesses. You only see the absolute, like, fake best part of their business. Like, it's way over the top. It's not even realistic. I see guys starting this business, and listen, like, I love Grant Cardone. I love all that. I listen to him in motivation, but I don't listen to him when it comes to, like, actual real life finances. The fact that, like, man, I'm telling you, I could go off on this. A house for the average person. Oh, I'm not average. Okay, stop it. You're not Elon Musk. I hate to say it. Like, unless you have this weird out of whack idea, if your idea is a lawn and landscape company or working for somebody or starting your own business, you're still like, you're just a person, okay? You're going to live approximately 75 years to 80 years, and that's your thing, okay? It financially makes sense to purchase a house. You purchase the right house, you purchase it correctly. Like, it makes sense. That, like, it just does. The tax benefits, all of it, okay? That's, like, it does get you somewhere to building some sort of wealth in the future, okay? Like I said, numbers don't lie. The numbers compared to renting versus somewhere, it's not even close. Like, it makes so much flippant sense for somebody that has an established lifestyle, living and building a family. Like, it just does, okay? And so I don't want anybody that watches this stuff to go get super psyched on a guy or whatever. I'm not even calling Grant Cardone because I really do watch his stuff. I was watching his stuff this morning. I like it. I'm just saying, like, I don't want you to get so caught up, drink so much of the Kool-Aid that you go and put your life and your risk, or your life, your family's life at risk, because there is so much, like, so many things that can happen about that. I'm going to take it down, cool it down a little bit. But listen, make smart decisions, because when you're just stacking these payments and stacking this debt up, it's the very quickest way. It's like you're always going to be outrunning that payment. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know where I was off to. I'm so sorry about that. I really get hyped because I just see stuff that just makes me shake my head, because I believe in a savings account. I really do. Like, I just got shot up with energy right now. When I hear people say throw away your whole savings and just go gung-ho, I'm sorry, it gets me. I'm so conservative in all of that aspect that I'm probably on way one end of the spectrum, and I apologize. But obviously you can tell Dave Ramsey is like my guy, okay? I really do love all the principles he teaches. And I'm more Dave Ramsey mindset in building wealth as opposed to just throwing my whole life out, running on debt. It's like walking on ice, dude, versus building a boat to move yourself across the water. Yeah, it might not happen as quickly as just trying to run across the ice because you got to build the boat. But it assures me that I'm going to get to my destination a little bit more than running on ice. So that's the most accurate analogy I can come up with, but that's enough. I know, I'm telling you, this is a bad avenue for me because I can rant forever. Okay, so we're done here. I hope you guys got something out of it and enjoyed today's show, and I wish you guys all the best of luck in your businesses. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you for listening to the B&B Lawn Care Podcast with Blake Albertson. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave us a review on iTunes. Follow us on YouTube at B&B Lawn Care and on Instagram at bblawncarekc. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a wonderful day.